Hello and happy Sunday. I hope that wherever you are and whatever you're doing, you're having a lovely weekend, and I suppose whatever day it is when you're watching this. In the background you can almost certainly hear our chickens. This is not our chicken and garden update, this is our Sunday musing, so I'm sorry if they are interfering with your musing potential. Now it is actually in the real offline world in which we film currently Monday, and if you watch this channel, or our main channel more explicitly, you will know that on Sunday of last weekend we got a bit of a rude awakening when the Sun newspaper in Britain, which for those not familiar, which is probably most of you if you're lucky, the Sun newspaper is a red top gutter press newspaper, and I use that term really loosely, which took it upon itself to misrepresent and cherry pick information out of our Aptera video. And it did this as part of a series of videos that it's done, or a part of a series of articles using videos that they've done, where they've taken sections or small parts of videos from lots of channels. So our channel, Walton-Elliott's channel, Electro heads, a whole, like a raft of YouTube creators. And basically, as soon as you say something faintly negative about any EV, they'll cherry pick that segment, then they'll, I keep wanting to say write an article, but it's not really writing an article, because that involves, thought, research, actually, pulling together threads from different things. What they'll actually do is take some quotes out of context, print them pretty much verbatim, with a few words surrounding them to kind of pad it out, and then basically say, look at these terrible EVs. And look, this is nothing new. EVs have been subject to disinformation pretty much, I think, since certainly the resurgence of EVs in the late 90s, early thousands, when GM crushed the EV1, Toyota basically refused to sell you a RAV4 EV, and car companies in general pushed very heavily on the narrative that people don't want EVs, EVs will never be able to fulfill people's needs, we should just keep burning gasoline. And that kind of narrative has been around. It's nothing new. What we're seeing at the moment feels to me like kind of the desperate throes of an industry that knows that it is about to become a modern blacksmith. And actually I like blacksmiths. Used to live in a blacksmith's, well, our garage used to be a blacksmith's forge. Not here, in England. Off topic. It's an industry that has been an enormous part of our lives for the last 50 to 100 years, which is really kind of the lifespan of humans' ability to think about social stuff. Like, humans don't, in the grand scheme of things, live very long. Like, certainly we outlive chickens, if we're lucky. And the chicken's lucky. But I suppose if the chicken's not lucky. But we don't live long enough to really see the impacts of what we do on the planet. When you look back at Victorian discussions of what the world was like, and Victorian diary entries and things like that, there are things like walking into the sea and picking up a fish, because there are so many fish in the sea that fishing is possible at the seaside, because you can just walk into the sea and go, oh, I'll have that one, grab it, and then take it home and eat it. And that is so far removed from the way the world is now. It's just almost nonsensical. Like, how could that even be? But it's a pretty common theme in discussions of, or in narratives from the period. And we have transformed the world in such a short period of time. And the people who were alive then aren't alive now. And so they can't talk to us about it. And even if they can, it's the same as when I say to a millennial or a Gen Z that, you know, my internet connection at home was a 56k modem. One, you have to explain what a 56k modem is. Well, actually, anyway, we'll carry on, because I was going to go into a whole geeky thing about, well, that was like my newest modem, and then I was like, that's not. If you have grown up in a world where you have Wi-Fi available pretty much everywhere, you have 4 or 5G internet connectivity available nearly all of the time, and when you don't, you're at home and you have cable internet that allows you, or gigabit Ethernet that allows you to just connect to the internet wherever, then this idea that the internet might be only for small pictures downloaded slowly, and if you were like I was on Red Hot Ant, then, you know, you had to spend an hour dialing in until you got a connection, and it doesn't make any sense. You can hear the words, but there's no emotional connection to it, and realistically it's like your older relative explaining how they used to walk uphill both ways to school through the snow. And this kind of situation where an industry, a major industry with an awful lot of money, an incredible, astonishing amount of money, can put all this effort into generating these lies and half-truths and spreading misinformation about the fact that, you know, EVs can fill virtually any job that you need to do now. Like, if you need an EV to transport stuff, if you need a vehicle to transport stuff, there are very few roles in which an EV could not do it. There are even fewer roles where an EV could not do it really well, if not better than the gasoline car. And there's this like tiny minority of things where, yeah, EVs aren't there yet, or there isn't an alternative to the gasoline vehicle or the diesel powered, the fossil fuel vehicle, which would frankly be better. And this industry is seeing it's going to be stuck with these stranded assets of, you know, yes, we'll need oil, but in far smaller quantities. We're not going to need the kind of quantities of oil that we have now, up until now, for transportation, for production. They're starting to see that we don't want them. We know that there are still some things where oil is necessary. There are still some things where, you know, drug manufacture, some packaging manufacture, it's going to take us time to get away from them and start using renewable sources. But chemistry is really good. Chemists are really clever. And the thing that has kept oil and fossil fuel packaging and fossil fuel companies in business is subsidies. And the minute those subsidies go away, the minute that changes, then you're gonna see the economics of these things, of these companies, vaporizing. Like, it's a business model predicated on being able to manipulate democracy so that you can have subsidies, so that you can make your business model work. And if we get rid of those subsidies, and if we get rid of those things, then those businesses go away. And what that means for these companies is this is life or death for them. And they understand that. They understand that at a really fundamental level. But they don't care about the fact that for the rest of us, this is life or death for us as a species. Like, the planet will be fine. The planet will carry on being a spinning rock whether or not we are on it. There are animals on this planet that will survive, and most likely humans will survive. It's just whether that survival is a mean, limited existence on a planet with very few resources, or whether we can make a switch to a planet that is supportive to us as creatures and uses the resources and stewards the resources that we have in a way that means that we can continue to live moderately comfortably, if not very comfortably, within our carbon means. And so we've seen, like this summer in particular, this year in particular, as EVs have got better, as EVs and their technology have got to the point that pretty much anyone could live with an EV and pretty much any business could do it, that there's this absolute desperation on the part of these fossil fuel companies to get this misinformation out there. And that's easy to do when you have publications like The Sun, which is read by a not insignificant number of people, and they can spread their lies through these media outlets. And it's something that's not particularly difficult to do when we are in a period where social media exists, where people don't fact check. I've been caught out. I'm not going to say that I'm like some godlike being. I've seen something and I'm like, that sounds true. Shared it and then gone back later and gone, what are the sources for this? Because even when you generally think critically, you can sometimes be caught out by something that sounds true, has enough information to make you think it's true, but it's not. And then I have to go back and I have to apologize and say, no, this isn't true. And oh, it's a mess. But we're in this period where clicks and getting that kind of content out there is much easier with spicy autocomplete, or as some people like to call it, artificial intelligence, but it's really not, then creating that kind of content that sounds really appealingly true and yet has absolutely no basis in fact is easier than it has ever been in the past. And the question I have for you after rambling at you for apparently 13 minutes is, how do we get past this? How do we as a species and as a society get past this rampant rise of disinformation and misinformation that sounds true, that feels authentic, that to some extent is designed, no, not to some extent, that is entirely designed to play on our prejudices and our weaknesses and the way that our brains work. And it's designed to play on those things in a way that we scientifically know will be effective in getting us to believe things that aren't true. How do we get past this? And that's something I'm interested to know what you think. And it doesn't just have to be about EVs, because EVs are not the be-all and end-all of getting us off fossil fuels. They are definitely not the be-all and end-all of transportation. We need so many things to shift. But how do we get there when there is this constant barrage of lies, half-truths, deliberate disinformation that is designed to slow us down? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I really want to see, or on the Patreon post if you are a Patreon. And yeah, I'm interested to hear what you have to say. Thanks for joining me today, and if you've got thoughts, make sure you leave them below in our Discord chat room, or you can reach out to us on Mastodon. Thanks to the amazing list of people scrolling by on your screen right now. They are some of the more than 1,500 people who help fund this channel through Patreon and YouTube, covering our bills, paying our team, and making sure we can be 100% independent. And a huge thank you to our newest members, Af Moeen, Sean Instazi, Robin Migala, Jason Moore, Logan A. Rossignol, Michael Bramall, Tanya's NUI, David McConnell, Dennis Lyon, James Cardelli, Jason Rissner. Thank you all for joining the TE crew. If you'd like to join them and see your name listed here, just follow the links below. There's a range of different tiers you can sign up to for as little as $1 a month, or if you pay yearly, just under $11 a year. If you'd like to support us with a one-off donation, you'll find links below to make Ko-fi and Bitcoin donations, and we even have an old-fashioned PO box that you can reach us at. Address is down below. And if you're in need of some swag, you'll find our swag store also in the down below. We've got some great content coming up, so make sure you're subscribed on PeerTube or YouTube, and we'll see you soon. We make new videos every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday and Sunday. If you want more, the mighty algorithm thinks you'll like this video, but we think this one is also well worth a look. See you soon, and as always, keep evolving!